Yo, I know the quality of the video is not what I've been normally presenting, but as I started to get up from my sleep, I realized that I was about to lose my thought. Um, the morning thoughts, in other words, the thoughts that hit you first, perhaps after you come out of your dream state, are going to be possibly the most important thoughts that you have for the day. You may have the most clear revelations coming from the dream state. And so my revelation coming from the dream state was it's not that complex, right? It's not that complicated, right? But it's more to it than that, because the reality is many of us are carrying emotional weight from trauma. Like, we're carrying emotional weight from trauma, and when we're triggered by these traumas, it affects us in such a way. So I was reminded of a poem that I wrote maybe when I was in my middle years. I'm not really sure, but somewhere between 16 and 20, uh, I wrote a poem called Stick to Itiveness. And so what I was expressing to myself in these breadcrumbs, right? Like, I might be able to find this poem, I might not, but it sticks with my mind as far as when I knew that I had a complicated way of looking at my life. So there's this phrase that I hear, and this is where the complex part comes in, right? There's this phrase that I hear playing through my mind a lot. You're going to get that boy a complex. And yeah, I'm going to get a little emotional. It's deep, right? Like, the phrase didn't fully encompass, excuse me. I realize now speech impediment is not enough to describe, right? Like, so the things that we grew up saying, hearing, the words that we use are a dialect of English, right? And they used to call it a slave dialect. So there were many things that our older people were trying to express that just didn't come across, like it didn't translate. And that complex thing was something I never understood until I started understanding complicated and complex PTSD. So for an older black person to be talking about, you're going to get that boy a complex, the speaking of negative things over and over to a person can give them a manner of looking at themselves. However, that takes a little bit more of the pressure off of the sender rather than the receiver, especially if the receiver is a child. So here we are, without being too personal. It's not like I'm trying to save anybody's feelings anymore, because I don't care what my abuser's feelings feel like, right? Because here I am at 49 remembering words said to me, punches laid on me, abuse at the hands of cruel people. And this is the complex that I'm speaking of, right? So I wake up early this morning knowing that the message is more important than the movement. I've been having a pain in my hip that I'm starting to realize is an emotional pain as well as a physical pain, but there's an emotional weight that's carried often. And this is where it gets deep for the spiritual worker. The spiritual worker can acknowledge the inconsistencies in everything. Does that make sense? The spiritual worker can find the inconsistencies in everything. And people hate that, right? Like I think it's Jadina or somebody that says, I call her Lady Jade. She says that people get triggered by that, right? And it's the emotional work that you're doing that triggers other people, because they can't stand on their own square the way you're standing on your own square. So starting this message out about stick-to-itiveness, about complex, it's not that complicated. We're talking about complicated grieving, We're talking about complex PTSD. And in that manner of speaking, what's most important is to acknowledge that your pain is real. Nobody can tell you what to feel, what not to feel, how to feel, to get over it. None of that. That's for you to balance out. Like for me, at 49, I'm balancing it out. I hate leftovers. But unfortunately, it's the only food of my mother's I can eat. I can only eat her leftovers, right? And I took it as though it was just because I stole from my mother. So coming home from prison, I had this guilt trip. But what I realized was the home that I had to come to from the penitentiary was my fight club house. It was my gladiator school where a lot of bull crap used to happen. I'm going to say the word, a lot of bullshit used to happen. One of my bullies is my brother. Some parts of me love my brother, but the inner child in me don't like that dude, like at all. Gets mad when I hug him. Like when I see him, because I don't allow myself to cross the barrier with my blood family often because it hurts too damn bad. To come home from prison and realize that the dynamic that you discovered in prison in your mind is real and that you don't have a place in this group is one of the hardest things. Now, I'm starting to hear it a whole lot more where brothers are speaking up, sisters are speaking up about the mannerisms and the way that people are playing black folks, black men in general, especially with the fact that we're never allowed to emote. So to carry all this weight and never able to do nothing with it, it makes sense to me why I don't show up in relationships. You feel me? You see that throat block? You see that throat chakra block? Like, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about carrying this emotional burden for so long that you can't speak. You can't live your life, man. So I'm up, it's early, it's coffee time, you know? It's coffee time, my stomach is hungry. I need to eat. But my complex, it tell me I don't deserve to eat. My complex tell me I gotta work. And this might be what you dealing with. You dealing with the ghosts of past that are still lingering in your thoughts, and you gotta banish those thoughts or absorb those thoughts or embrace those thoughts. Whatever your tool is to process these thoughts, I just need us to put them in a place where we can put them in like a little Annabelle gift shop case and lock that motherfucker. I swear on everything. I mean, lock those thoughts away like an Annabelle doll. Like, I got a little white doll at the house right now. I ain't trying to be funny, but somebody gave it to me, and I'm going to imbue that doll with all that shit, and I'm going to lock it up. I'm going to lock all that negativity from childhood in this little bitty doll. Yeah, it's some shadow work. But what I'm saying is, when I was sitting with a therapist who had an option to really build with me, she said, you ain't ready to have a conversation with your inner child. What's up, M, whatever your name, MMMMG? I'm spitting it how I spit it because you walked away, you turned your back on a brother who could have focused with a little bit of help. We got to realize where we're stepping over people. Yeah, I got a little personal. What y'all thought I was going to just keep tiptoeing? Keep letting my throat be blocked, my chakra? Keep holding back my energy? Y'all think I'm just going to keep showing up weak? Y'all think I'm never going to turn into the Hulk? I'm always going to be Banner? I'm not always going to be Bruce Banner trying to avoid a fight. One of these days, I'm just going to sock somebody, right? But what I mean by that is, if nothing else, I've earned the right to defend myself. I've earned the right to pay for my own food, clothing, and shelter, and do everything I need to do for myself as an adult, and same as you. I'm learning to pat myself on the back for the small wins and the big wins. I'm learning to tell myself it's okay when I make a mistake. I'm learning to love myself. I'm learning to tell myself, I love you. It don't come from me. It come from deep, deep, deep inside. Something telling you, I'm proud of you. It's you. It's that small, tiny voice of hope that you had since a child. And it's that voice that's crying out to you to make sure you don't forget about it. You can't lose that part of yourself because you become this rigid adult that's abusive and angry and psychotic, giving little kids complex. Deltron 3030, my nigga. Now you 48 and you hate children? Look, y'all, we gotta focus on healing ourselves. Because right now, we walking around giving each other complexes, making life more complicated. I figured out my superpower is love. But I get hurt so bad that I gotta always be in the palace of solitude. You dig? The crystal palace of solitude. So I'm gonna clean my face up. It's the same thing I'm gonna ask y'all to do for today. Wipe your tears and make the day beautiful because you deserve it. I'm glad I'm in the dark because that snot down the nose is not beautiful. But tears and emotions are healthy. Quit telling little boys don't cry. Quit telling little boys big boys don't cry. Quit telling little boys they ain't allowed to cry. Because they grow up into men who hurt people. And I'm so glad that I'm not a man that prides itself on hurting folks. And I'm glad that I'm learning that it's not that complex and it's not that complicated. Just like me, you can learn how to love yourself a little bit at a time. I'm going to give y'all the raw on this channel, and you're going to see what I do, because I'm coming out of a hole and out of a sunken place. So forgive my tears and my snotty nose, but I hope this message helps somebody. Now get on up out that bed and take on the world and see what's out here for you, because I'm going for coffee.